You stand here now, breathing free air, your heart beating steadily in your chest, your mind unshackled, allowed to think, to speak, to choose. But you, like so many others, may not truly grasp how extraordinary that is, how rare it is, how fragile it remains. The world is littered with the bones of men who never knew freedom, men whose voices were silenced, whose dreams were crushed beneath the boots of tyrants. Most of human history is a grim tapestry of chains and whips, of kings and emperors who saw men not as souls with rights, but as tools, objects to be used, bent and broken. You think the liberty you enjoy now is normal, that it's the natural state of humanity? It isn't. It's a miraculous exception, a rare and fleeting spark in the abyss of oppression that has defined the vast majority of human existence. And that spark, that precious and defiant flame of liberty, exists only because men far greater than us were willing to sacrifice everything to keep it burning. To let that fire die out through cowardice or complacency is not just a failure. It is a betrayal of the past, the present, and every unborn generation that will suffer for our weakness. Think about it, truly think. Every step you take as a free man, every word you utter without fear of censorship or retribution, is only possible because someone else bled for it. Someone else lay gasping on a battlefield, staring at the sky, their lifeblood soaking into the dirt. Their last thought not of regret, but of hope. Hope that their death would plant the roots of liberty, so that future generations of men just like you might stand taller than they ever could. Do you feel that weight in your chest? That responsibility, that sacred duty? You should, because every second you enjoy freedom, you carry the debts of those who died to give it to you. And every second you falter, every moment you hesitate to defend that freedom, you dishonor them. Their sacrifices fade to dust, meaningless in the shadow of your cowardice. But it's not just about honoring the past. It's about ensuring that the future doesn't descend into darkness. Because make no mistake, the wolves of tyranny are always circling, their eyes gleaming with hunger, waiting for the moment we grow too soft, too weak, too comfortable to resist. And the moment we falter, they will pounce. They will tear apart the fabric of our liberties, piece by piece, until all that's left is a nation of slaves, too broken to fight back. You think that can't happen here? That the modern world is too advanced, too civilized for such horrors? Open a history book, and then open your eyes. Tyranny doesn't announce itself with fanfare and banners. It creeps in slowly, quietly, disguised as safety, as convenience, as progress. It whispers soothing lies in your ear, promising that if you just give up a little freedom, a little dignity, you'll be safe. You'll be cared for. But those promises are poison. Every freedom you surrender, no matter how small, is a link in the chain being forged for your neck. And once that chain is complete, once it tightens around your throat, there is no going back. The jaws of tyranny don't loosen, they only crush. And by the time you realize the trap has sprung, it will be too late to gnaw your way out. Imagine that future. Close your eyes and picture it. A world where men no longer speak their minds, where they no longer dare to think freely, to believe freely. A world where your children grow up with blank eyes and bowed heads, afraid to question, afraid to live. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your life is not your own, that your thoughts are monitored, your actions dictated by faceless overlords, who see you as nothing more than a cog in their machine. That future is not some distant nightmare. It is a shadow that grows darker with every moment men refuse to fight. With every moment men trade courage for comfort, responsibility for ease. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance, eternal struggle. It is the willingness to fight, to bleed, and yes, if necessary, to die. Because the moment you refuse that price, you are no longer free. You are a slave in waiting, a man who has traded his soul for the illusion of safety. Liberty is not for the weak. It is not for the fearful. It is a prize for the brave, for those with the iron will to protect it. And protecting liberty is not a passive act. It is not a slogan to chant or a flag to wave once a year. It is a relentless, unending struggle against the forces that seek to subjugate you. Those forces are always there, sometimes hiding in the shadows, sometimes openly marching down your streets. And they will always test you, probe you, looking for weakness, for hesitation. You cannot give them an inch, not a single inch, because once they find that weakness, they will exploit it. They will push and push until everything you hold dear lies in ruins. You stand on the shoulders of giants, men who crossed icy rivers in the dead of night, who charged into musket fire, who stood defiant on gallows with ropes around their necks, shouting, "Give me liberty or give me death." These men did not fight because it was easy. They fought because it was necessary, because they knew that a life without freedom is no life at all. They accepted the darkness of battle so that you might bask in the light of liberty. Do not squander that gift. Do not let their sacrifices turn to ash. Be worthy of their legacy. Stand up. Fight. When the time comes, and it will come, be ready to lay down everything you have, everything you are, to keep the flame of liberty alive. Because if that flame dies, it may never return. And what will you say then? What will you tell your children, your grandchildren, when they ask how the world slipped into chains? Will you tell them you were too busy, too comfortable, too afraid to fight? Will you let them inherit a world of servitude because you lack the courage to defend their future? Or will you stand tall, with the fire of defiance in your eyes, and tell them you did everything to keep them free? That you fought, you bled, you sacrificed, so that they could live with dignity, with hope, with the boundless potential that only liberty provides? That choice is yours. It is a weight you must bear, a burden you must embrace. The world will not save itself. Liberty will not defend itself. It requires men of conviction, men of strength, men who are willing to walk through fire and face the abyss, knowing that some fights are worth dying for. Be that man. Be the guardian of freedom, the defender of liberty. Stand with the heroes of the past and carve your name alongside theirs. Not with words, but with actions, with the unflinching resolve that liberty is worth any price. Because in the end, there is no greater honor, no greater destiny, than to fight for the freedom of mankind. To keep the flame alive, for yourself, for your family, for the generations yet to come. Do not let it die.